Down here I've got the Nintendo Entertainment System, and everybody seems to know what this is all about. This is the one that I keep coming back to play. All I can say is that this was one of the best systems that was ever made. And then of course Nintendo had the same success again with the Super Nintendo, and again I play this one here a lot. These two are actually hooked up at the moment. The 7800, the Atari 7800 that I have hooked up, you'll notice that I don't have the Atari 2600 hooked up at the moment, and that's because the 7800 will actually play the 2600 games. So I don't really bother, just to save shelf space. I don't hook every console I have up. So that's what I have here. Up on the shelf up here. Oh well, maybe I'll finish off this. Up here I keep some of the boxes. You'll see here I've got the Odyssey 2 box, and I try to keep these boxes in good shape whenever I can. The Atari XE computer, video game system computer, this was my first computer, and this is what I learned to program on. This came with some version of BASIC on it, and I had the manuals for it. I bought this at a yard sale, I think for 25 bucks when I was a kid, and the manual showed you how to program in BASIC, so that's what I learned to program on. Pong Sports 4, that's the box for the Pong unit down here. Atari 7800, the N64. Over here is a large assortment of boxed games mostly, but I have some loose cartridges hanging around. The first two up here on the left are Odyssey 2 games, and then I've got some boxes for some Super Nintendo games, and then these ones right here are the Intellivision games, and they go all the way to about here. And these ones right here in the middle, these sort of white boxes, these are voice games, and I do have the voice synthesis module for it. And Bomb Squad was the one that I really liked. I like playing that. And I've got the boxed games for the NES. And then down here I've got the silver ones of the Atari 7800. And then I've got the Atari 2600 games that are all boxed, and these all have games in them. So in addition to the loose cartridges, there's actually cartridges in those. Here I've got this is a weird assortment. I've got some N64 games in the back, and these big long ones right here are VIC-20 games for the Commodore. And what have I got here? This is for the Atari XE computer. This is Donkey Kong Jr. So these 4 games here, and then these ones are for the Commodore 64. I don't have the 64, I've got the 128, but the 128 plays all the 64 stuff. And I've got Xbox games, PlayStation 2 games, GameCube games, some Sega Genesis games here, and I've got a handful of Sega Master System games, and this is one of the 3D games here. These are PlayStation games here, and I've got a couple of Sega CD and Dreamcast games over here. And down here I've got some PC games, and this is a Sega Game Gear. I got that for a really good price. And some memory cards. Oh, Sega Game Gear games. I don't have very many of them, but I got a few. Some loose cartridges for the Intellivision are here. And these are the ColecoVision games. I don't have very many for the ColecoVision, but those are the ones right here. My wife got them for me with the console. I've got the 3 Jaguar games, and there's Tempest 2000. Really good soundtrack on that, by the way. Over here I've got an stack of Atari 5200 games, and I don't actually have the console for this. I got these from a lot on eBay, and the console, every time I order a console on eBay for an Atari 5200, it shows up busted. So I kind of gave up, so I just have the games. The box games for the TurboGrafx 16, and then here I've got TurboGrafx 16 games. This one, however, this is Street Fighter 2. This is for the PC Engine, and you'll see I've got some loose cards up here. These 2 stacks here for the PC Engine, so that's for the alternate version, and then this stack over here is for the regular TurboGrafx 16. And it's pretty cool that they come on these little cards, but that was kind of fun at the time. Xbox 360 games, and some PlayStation 3 games. I do have a PlayStation 3. It's not on the shelf here with the rest of the consoles. It's actually downstairs in the main living rooms. I play it on the regular TV. And I also have a red Nintendo Wii down there as well, but I keep the games for that downstairs. And this is the workstation that I have. I require a lot of desk space because I do a lot of repairs. I don't do quite as much as I used to, but I do a lot of computer and console repairs here. And laptop down here, and then I've got a big container full of controllers, and just about every controller you can imagine is in there. And I really should find a better way to store these. I'm going to have to find a bigger container at the very least. I also collect a lot of comics, so I've got a lot of them that I like posted up on the wall, and most of my collection is from the 80s and 90s. But I've recently started picking up the collection again. I've got some pins of Spider-Man drawn by Todd McFarlane, and these comics here are just, they're not, it's not that they're necessarily worth anything, but they're just issues that I particularly liked to have. The one on the far left, that's from the 60s. That's probably the oldest comic I've got. Then you've got Spider-Man's black costume, the introduction of that, Death of Superman, Return of Superman. Venom got his own comics there for a while. Batman got his back broken by Bane. Todd McFarlane. Actually, that was the comic right there, that #1 Spider-Man, that got me interested in comic books. The artwork was fantastic, but I will say that Todd McFarlane is not the best writer around. And then I got some of these older movie ones. Every time there was a movie, it seemed they'd make a comic series out of it. And then these pictures right here, they're actually made of some sort of metal. I think it's tin. I hold them up there. And that's made of tin as well. This is a nice wooden poster. And then I've got a cloth one here of Superman that I thought was kind of cool. Down here I got a t-shirt, Ghostbusters. And then I've got an action figure up here. And Marvel Superhero Secret Wars issue #1 t-shirt. That was one of my favorite miniseries right there. TurboGrafx 16 poster, came with the console. Batman t-shirt with a Weapon X action figure. Superman. Everybody likes Superman. And then the boxes. I try to keep the boxes when I can. The Atari Flashback 2, the 7800. The VIC-20, the console's actually in there. And it's in excellent condition. There's also a cassette reader in there as well. The Atari Jaguar, and the red Wii. I've also got World of Warcraft up here, and Ultima 4 Warriors of Destiny. That's for the Commodore 64, and that was a really nice role-playing game. There's a cloth map and everything in there. I'll pull that out one of these days.